This is Business Week Armenia, ＳիվիլNeթ's weekly economic digest. Here's what you need to know this week. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development has agreed to loan the Armenian government more than $256 million to cover construction costs for a major road project in the country's mountainous south. This is the largest road infrastructure project ever financed by the EBRD in Armenia. We appreciate Armenia's aspiration to develop a transport and logistics infrastructure that will enhance its regional connectivity and integration with external markets, the bank said in a press release. The EBRD's loan will cover the majority of construction costs for a 15-mile highway to connect the towns of Sisyan and Kajaran in Armenia's southernmost Syunik region. It is part of the North-South Corridor project, an ambitious government effort to revamp Armenia's main highway network, which stretches for more than 340 miles connecting Georgia and Iran. Also as part of that project, the Armenian government late last year signed a $215 million contract with two Iranian companies to rebuild a separate section of the Syunik highway, with financing from the Russia-led Kazakhstan-based Eurasian Development Bank. Officials say the upgrades, which are expected to significantly shorten travel times and improve road safety, will allow Armenia easier access to ports in Georgia and Iran and can turn Armenia into a major transit hub connecting Europe and the Middle East. Nonetheless, the North-South Corridor project has been beset by numerous delays, cost overruns, and allegations of corruption since it was first announced more than a decade ago. The upgrades were initially expected to be completed by 2019 at a total cost of less than $1 billion. But as of today, the majority of the planned upgrades remain uncompleted and projected costs have swelled to more than $2 billion. Speaking to reporters this week, Armenia's infrastructure minister, Ganel Sanosyan, said he could not provide any final timeline for the project as a whole. In related news, the London-based EBRD also agreed this week to provide Armenia with an additional $11 million loan and a $2 million grant for the construction of a new customs center in Syunik, Armenia's only region bordering Iran. That project aligns with plans for the new Sisyan to Kajaran road to enhance connectivity between the Syunik region and Yerevan, the bank said in a statement. The EBRD was set up in 1991 to help rebuild the economies of the former Soviet Union after the collapse of communism and has grown to become one of Armenia's largest institutional financiers, investing nearly $2.3 billion in the country to date. Stock in the company that owns one of Armenia's biggest banks plunged this week as markets reacted to the Georgian government's renewed moves to push forward with controversial legislation that officials in Brussels are warning may derail that country's long-standing efforts to join the European Union. The value of the Bank of Georgia Group on the London Stock Exchange dropped by 9.7% during trading Wednesday, one day after lawmakers in Tbilisi rammed through the so-called Bill on the Transparency of Foreign Influence in defiance of historically large and ongoing protests across the city. Overall, stock in the Bank of Georgia Group has fallen by 10.6% since last month, when the Georgian government first announced its plans to push ahead with the legislation, which would require non-governmental organizations and media groups to register as foreign agents. A number of other leading Georgian companies have seen their stocks slashed in recent weeks, and the Georgian currency, the lari, has also depreciated strongly against the dollar and euro, as international concern mounts over what appears to be the Georgian government's increasingly pro-Russian course. Last month, the Bank of Georgia Group finalized its $303.6 million acquisition of Ameriabank, Armenia's second biggest lender, following shareholder and regulatory approval. There was no immediate comment from Ameriabank, which, under the terms of the deal, continues to operate as a standalone entity within the Bank of Georgia Group, to these latest developments. And as always, please follow SivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.